You guys, we are going live today. This is our fourth live this week. If you missed them or if you haven't watched them, I think I started these on, I don't know, Saturday. These are pretty cool. What I want to do, if you don't know yet, I want to be able to kind of grow this community to where we can open up these lives and you guys can join. If you do join, you can give me a like, throw me a comment, let me know you're here, and then we can go over Q&A. We might go over what you're struggling with, if you have questions for me, etc. Today I wanted to remind you guys my book Be Happy or Get the F Out. This launches, or it launched. It launched on May 30th. It's on Amazon. The Kindle version is going to be 99 cents only until tomorrow. It goes up to, I think, like $6 after tomorrow. You don't have to have a Kindle to buy it. I think you just get an app on your phone and then the book loads right in. So super easy to download there. The paperback version is $8. Again, the book itself is really my story on being diagnosed bipolar, manic episode, hospitalized, fall, depression, etc. But it's really how to rebuild your life after trauma. Sorry, my neck freaking hurts. So go grab the book. I think that it's very helpful. It's like, what do we spend $1 on these days anyway, you all? Go get the freaking book. You can share it with people. I've been told it's really entertaining and could be turned into a movie, which I totally think it could. But also, I have been told by people who are not bipolar that it's very helpful for them too. So you don't, by any means, have to just be bipolar to get something out of that book. At the very least, too, it's entertaining as hell, I think. Today, what we're going to talk about. Let me get my notes pulled up here for us. I think we're going to have a lot of good content today. I have made these PDFs. There is something that I came up with. If bipolar success consisted of a 4 square box, what would that 4 square box contain? Okay. If you get the book, you can download this PDF for free along with Bipolar Life Cycle. There's other things in there that you can download, which is cool. What I'm going to go over with you quickly is each square of the 4 square box. Now, your 4 square box can change over time. We can get more advanced. Yours might be a little bit different than mine, but this is going to be like this general overview, some ideas for you guys. And I think the key components to living really a successful life and being bipolar at the same time. Box 1 is going to be stability. Box 2 is going to be gratitude, mindset, and belief system. Box 3 is going to be confidence, independence, and joy, worth, value, that kind of thing. Box 4 is going to be asking ourselves the right questions in the right seasons of our life. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these boxes and I'm going to give you some ideas on what you can do through each box. What I believe is I believe that if we are working on each of these boxes kind of in a loop throughout our lives, the natural progression is at least progress, right? So I don't believe that if you're living in a way that we're intentional about these 4 boxes, that you can continue to hate your life or to be depressed or to not at least know how to improve your life, okay? And all of this I do. I have either done it or do it daily, etc., all this kind of stuff. Now, the first box is stability because that's our step 1. I mean, stability either after you're diagnosed or if you've been diagnosed for years and you're still not level, you're still going through highs and lows and ups and downs and depression and mania and all this kind of stuff. Like, we're not stable, we're not level, we haven't found center, okay? Stability and being level is our number 1 priority. So, what this box consists of is a couple different really approaches and things like that. Now, you guys know that I do support medication, so I will say that first. Now, that does not mean that you go on random medications. You need to have a trusted psychiatrist that, number 1, diagnoses the right disorder, And then we get you on the right meds that work for your brain and your body. Now, as I've said 1,000 times, medication is not one size fits all. It is not something that's going to be a cure all, because it's up to us to continue to kind of fight back. Medications are a process. It could take at least 90 days to 6 months to really find what works for your body. It took me 2 full years to not only get level, find the right meds, but like see my light come back on. Okay. So just know that this is all a process. If you know that, I think your mindset can change right there. If I was told, like, Felicia, life might suck for a minute, but like we're rebuilding, we're just figuring it out. Okay. That's what we're doing. We're figuring this thing out. And there is a path to happiness. Don't get it twisted. So that's what I would say, step one. The other thing is therapy. I love some therapy because when I had my therapist who I trusted and liked, she understood me and I really liked her. She was like ex-military. She was really cool. She was like a tomboy. I just really liked her. She helped me finagle and kind of understand where my priorities were, what not to worry about, like kind of helped me guided me through my life for a long time. And I think therapy is not one size fits all either. I've shopped around because you don't want to work with a therapist that you don't like, somebody that doesn't get you. Like, that doesn't make sense. You're never going to open up to somebody that you don't trust, know, and like. So take that into consideration. The next thing, and let me preface this real quick. I'm going to go over the stability like box, and you might get overwhelmed. You're like, I can't do all that all the time. I get it. The whole focus here is baby steps. All right. And we're going to talk about baby steps and how to like prioritize, how to categorize your life. And what this does is when you start doing things and you build this routine, it then becomes natural. And then it's just part of your day. It becomes like brushing your teeth. Okay. And what then you can do is you get more advanced. You can add one more thing on. So as I'm going through this, do not think for a second you have to do all of this every day. Not at all. We're starting with basics and then we go down the line. Okay. The next thing is support system. Support system is really, really vital because you don't want to listen to the wrong people and you need the right people in your corner. That's what I call it. So let me X out of this real quick. Okay. You need the right people in your corner, whether that's friends, family, otherwise. What I found really helpful too. So I'll tell you this, community is really nice and important to just be a part of a community physically, or otherwise. If you're not like a church goer, I don't necessarily go to church either. But at the end of the day, church is a community. You can depend on church groups, support groups, grief counseling, like all that is really, really nice. So even if you're not religious, you could find a church and you like people and it's a community and you can call on somebody. Like, that's awesome. The other thing that I wanted to mention with support system was things like Al-Anon. I went to one Al-Anon meeting because because a lot of people go to Al-Anon because they have like an addict in their family or they have a manic daughter and they need to understand how to like deal with their family members, not deal with their family members, but also like understand they can't control their family members and how to navigate this thing. I went there not for like bipolar support, but what I found at Al-Anon was the support itself. I had like shared my story and from one hour being there, they didn't know me, I didn't know them. I had like 5 people come up to me after that would have been willing to give me their phone number, all this stuff. And they were like, if you ever need anything, like let us know, da 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 da. And I think if you went there and shared like what was going on, at the very least, you would find somebody there that is available to you to help support you and might, 9 times out of 10, people have mental health problems or they know somebody that does. Like, somebody will understand you. So keep that in mind too. What this is about is being open-minded, like I said yesterday, being open-minded to solutions. So if one thing doesn't work and you've tried it for 90 days and it's just not working out, try something else. Okay? The next thing I want to bring up, routine. Remember, we do not have a routine for the good days, although it sets our day up, right? We have a routine for the bad days so that our routine is what we do naturally. Okay? Morning routine is awesome, but whatever makes sense for you. Say you work the night shift or you have a brand new baby, like while that baby's asleep, maybe you do your routine then. What I would mention to you here is look up Hal, Hal Elrod. His last name is Eldelrod, I guess it is. He has a book called The Miracle Morning. I talked about this in another live. Go look him up. He's awesome, and he has one hell of a story too. But he firmly believes in this multi-tiered, really morning routine, and you can do it in freaking 10 minutes. What I do is I get on my bike in the morning, and when I have like 10 minutes after I kind of am done with the workout, to do this kind of meditation, my visualization, my gratitude and prayer, and silence. It takes 10 minutes. So let's say that exercise is going to be a priority here too. Maybe you look up a free video on YouTube. Maybe you're not a member of a gym. You don't have capacity to do that. Maybe you want to work out. Maybe your goal is to work out for 5 minutes a day. That, like, sometimes that's all we can do. Sometimes we can't even think of the word exercise. But in small doses, 5 minutes is 5 minutes, okay? And then your next 5 minutes, focus on one thing. You don't have to do the whole 5-tier morning routine. Focus on just gratitude. Focus on maybe prayer. Focus on maybe visualization or manifestations. You don't have to do all this at the same time. You just kind of add things on as you go. How to feel productive every day. When we're manic, we can do 1,000 things a day. When we're depressed, we don't want to do anything a day. What I think is very important when we're depressed or when we're trying to get our life back on, sorry you all, my freaking neck is killing me. What I want to focus, or what you want to remember is when we're trying to like rebuild our lives, is being productive as a human just makes you feel better. So this could go for anything. Like being productive when you're in survival mode, that might be literally brushing your teeth and you're like, thank God my teeth are clean. It might be taking a shower. You're like, oh, thank God I'm clean. You know, you can kind of check that off the list. When I was in survival mode and very, very depressed, it was very hard for me to even take showers, to brush my hair. Like everything felt like a chore. And if you've been depressed, I know you know what I mean. Then you kind of progress to like, how can I feel productive? Maybe it's taking out the trash. Maybe it's going on a walk and feeling the fresh air. Maybe it's cleaning up your space. Maybe it's cleaning up one corner of your room. Maybe it's doing the laundry. Not even the whole thing. Maybe it's putting clothes in the dryer. You know what I mean? Just little tiny baby steps. And then you're like, holy shit, I just did that. I freaking did the laundry today. Or I folded the laundry that's been sitting there for months. And then you're like, dang, I for real did that. You know, like I combated depression. That's what it's all about. You all know I got to drink some water. Hold on. Okay. The next thing, I'm highlighting this as I go. Sleep habits. When we're depressed, we sleep far too long. And what that does is when we sleep way too long, if you notice, and if you notice in your daily life too, like if you're not depressed, if you get too much sleep, what happens? You are lethargic. You don't have any energy. You want to sleep more. You need to take a nap that day. Like 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night is what we need. When you're manic, you're getting either no sleep, 2 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, or you like sleep for 2 hours, you wake up all night and do something, and then maybe lay down, maybe not. So you very much pay attention to your sleep habits. And I did some research on sleep because I wanted to know, I was like, why as humans do we need sleep? Like what happens to your body when we're asleep? And what I learned was not only does it turn off our bodies and it heals our bodies, it relaxes our bodies, and your brain resets. Okay, so your brain while it's sleeping, and I don't know all the ins and outs, I'm not sciencey, y'all know that. But what happens as a big picture with your brain when you're asleep, what it does is it takes the day and it files things that you need to know, like long-term memory. It gets out the bullshit, and then it takes into account what you need to kind of focus on the next day. Now, if you're manic or if you need like sleep assistance because your brain doesn't turn off, like my brain, I could be so freaking tired. And if I don't take my specific med, it's not called a sleeping pill. It's it turns off the brain function because my brain is always like, it's going. So I have to like turn that off with a medication because in being bipolar, big picture, we have a chemical imbalance. We need something that's going to help that kind of slow down. So remember that. Very, very important. Have you ever noticed if I have a really late night and I only get like 4 hours of sleep? That's happened. You wake up and your whole body is sore. It's like you worked out and you didn't work out. You just didn't sleep. And I wanted to know why that happens. And it's because when you're asleep, your body turns off and it heals and everything kind of is circulating and things. But if you don't get that rest, it's literally that rest that your body needs. It's wild. If you look up like sleep and what it does to the brain and body, it's freaking wild. And the more knowledge you know about your body and like why we need certain things, it makes more sense. Exercise. Again, and remember, you don't have to do all the things. Start with 2 things. Start with brushing your teeth and gratitude and meds and doctors. Okay. Start with that first, then we go down the line. Exercise. When I started exercising again, this is when I was still depressed. Now, I wasn't clinically depressed. I had like felt a little bit lighter, but I would still wake up in the day and just be like, I can't do anything. Like there's no way. And I would make myself get up and go to the gym. Now, I would only go to the gym like twice a week. I was like, that's all I can do. But in doing that, it brought me back to what used to bring me joy back in the day, before the depression. And what this does, remember, it's distraction, you all. What exercise does for a minute, guess what you're probably not thinking about while you're exercising? You're not thinking about how depressed you are. You're not focused on that. You're focused on freaking breathing. You're focused on being able to make it to the next minute. And if that's 5 minutes, rock on. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to get a trainer. You don't have to do all that BS. Do it at your house, okay? I used to do free YouTube videos. You can do squats for 5 minutes. Like, you can get some dumbbell, are those dumbbells? I don't know. Those little thingies and just do some arm workouts. Like, there's so many things that you can do. Do a plank and squats, 5 minutes, boom. Now, exercise. So diet. Remember, physical health complements mental health. What you are, what you eat. Remember, like you're not going to eat 20 donuts a day and feel energized and happy. You're going to feel lethargic and like bad for yourself. Okay? I know that's natural. So diet is very important. Tell yourself, I love my body, therefore I put fuel and energy in my body. Okay? That's one of my mantras. So take into account what you're putting into your system. What this is about is taking ownership of your life, taking responsibility for your life, and understanding it's not your fault that you're bipolar. It's not your fault that this happened. It sucks. It's not fair. If you understand that, it's not fair. It freaking sucks. But are you going to choose to live in that suckery, or are you going to choose to take ownership of your life? You're the only one that has control of that. Nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody is going to get stable for you. Your parents might want it for you. Your significant other might want it for you really bad. They might try to help you, but at the end of the day, it is your decision. Much like an addict. You cannot make an addict stop doing drugs or stop drinking. Like, they have to want it. And they have to do it every single day. I can't even imagine how hard that would be. Now, the next phase, okay, this is still in the stability box. Understand your diagnosis. You need to know if you're bipolar 1, if you're bipolar 2. Do you have mixed episodes? Do you suffer more from depression? Is it natural for you to be depressed? Is it more natural for you to be manic and then suffer from depression? So I know, specifically me, I know my natural state would happen, it would be manic, okay? And after I have mania, it falls into depression. Like I know if I'm super rocking and rolling and that's mania, well, directly after I'm going to be depressed. Because it was the highs and lows. Now I don't have those a lot anymore. I used to in the beginning, in the first 5 years, I would have those highs and lows. Now that's not to say that depression can't just sweep over you. To me, there are triggers and onsets, and we'll get into that too. Triggers and onsets that can onset depression, trauma, things that happen in your life, toxic relationships. There's things that can trigger mania too. But sometimes nothing triggers it. Sometimes depression, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? So the next phase is understand everything you can about your diagnosis, what can happen, what are side effects of it, blah, 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 blah. How you feel when you're manic or depressed. So this is really important in identifying what is coming down the road. You need to see down the road to know what could come. Okay? Now, yesterday when I was talking about depression, I hope that because I was thinking about this after, I don't want you to think that it is easy peasy lemon squeezy to get out of depression. A lot of this is trying to identify it before we fall too far or we fly too high. So identifying those moods and you're like, oh hell, like, oh hell. I need to reel this back in, or I need to get out of this depression before I fall too hard. That is the key. The next thing, let's see, triggers and onsets, you do need to know. So if you've had depression, if you've had a manic episode, things like this, was there anything that made that happen, or is there anything that helped it come on? Very, very important. Now, the next phase, keeping daily check-ins, journal, med tracker. I have a med tracker. If you buy the book, you can download all this stuff. I have a med tracker. The lady that helps me with my marketing helped me build it out. It's freaking awesome. It's not just about meds, it's about moods. Because a lot of this is we need to know daily what our moods are doing. And then you go back and study that. It's like charting what you eat every day. Like if you're on Weight Watchers, you track what you freaking eat. It's the same thing. So you want to track what you're taking, holistic, what's your diet like, track all this stuff, and then say, man, I felt really good yesterday. What did I do? Or golly, I felt really shitty. Is there anything I can do to help that? And if you go back and track that every month, you can see similarities or things maybe we can improve on so that the next month maybe gets a little bit better. Okay? Next thing. Solutions to mania, solutions to depression. Now, my solutions, I share with you, I shared solutions to mania and depression on other lives, so I don't want to become redundant here, but my solutions might be a little bit different than what works for you. But understanding what can bring you back up, distraction on depression, and what can bring you back up, joy and distraction for depression, and what can help you relax and come down from mania. Okay, so important. That's a whole thing. What we're doing. Holistic approaches to wellness. You don't want to talk to like a wellness person about meds and psychiatry and your bipolar disorder. You can talk to wellness coaches or people in wellness to get ideas on how to increase your energy. You know what I mean? Like they're going to know about things like that you can try. But here's the thing. You always want to know how that could affect your body. And you can consult with your psychiatrist before you ever try something. If your psychiatrist is trusted and you go to those daily things, blah 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 blah. That's always something that you can do. Now, supplements usually, in my experience, supplements aren't going to be, they shouldn't affect you negatively, but I don't want to say, I'm not a doctor. Like, don't take that as Bible. You need to always kind of consult and make sure that we're doing the right thing. Now, the next thing, let's see. Okay. Okay. So this is the point that I wanted to make in the stability box. We're about done with the stability side. This is how I categorize my life, and your categories are going to change over time. The baby step focus. So when you're just diagnosed, when you're flailing, okay, remember when we went over the bipolar life cycle, step 1 is flailing, step 2 is like the aftermath, blame, guilt, depression. When you're there and when you are in pure survival mode, you've got a baby step. So what you can do is, I like lists, I like all these trackers and all this stuff. But what I did back in the day, and what I still do, it's just changed over time, like my focuses are different. You can categorize like highest priorities, focus on 3 areas of your life, and then you have little subcategories. So for me, 3 things to focus on does not overwhelm me. You're going to be in a place sometimes where you just focus on one thing, like that's it, that's all you can do. But what I find very, very helpful is at least having like a game plan and a map out of the top 3 priorities in my life, and then what I'm going to do, baby steps to actually fulfill that. I was listening to a podcast today, probably Rachel Hollis, and she said a lot of people want to change, but they don't implement what it would take to change. We wake up every day and we're like, I don't want to feel like this. I want to change. I don't want to live my life like this anymore, and da da da. But we don't implement anything to change. We still do the exact same thing. What is the definition of insanity? And I'm paraphrasing here. It's doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's it. I'm going to give you my categories for probably 8 years ago. So I was okay, stable. You know, it was 6 years after my diagnosis. Now, my categories then was mental health, number 1. Number 2, it was diet, exercise. It was like physical health. 3 was family, nephew. Okay. So if you have kids, you can't count them out, you all. That's our responsibility. So we have to find a way to live our life and survive, but we still have that responsibility. We can't check out. I know a really unfortunate story about a lady that I know, and her mom was bipolar and was never level. She never took care of it. She never took responsibility. And she just was checked out their whole childhood, you know, and they don't have a good relationship with their mom now because she wasn't really a mom to them. And it's just a really unfortunate story, an unfortunate situation. So we've got to remember we still have responsibilities. Okay. So don't check out of your life, because here's the thing. If you're working on these 4 boxes, your life can fall back into place. And if you're working on your mental health, you're still going to be responsible enough to take care of what you need to take care of. If that's a dog, maybe you don't have kids, maybe you have responsibilities with your, you know, significant other, or you got to go to your job or whatever it is. So then in the subcategories, so it was category 1, mental health. But what am I actually going to do to have good mental health? For me then, it was go to my appointments, take my meds. That's it. Okay. Category 2 was physical health. For me then, I hadn't even come to gratitude yet. I don't even think that was part of, but I did have prayer. No. Okay. So that would have been in mental health. So it was like meds, appointments, prayer. Category 2, physical health. It was exercise and diet and water. It was like that. Then category 3 was like family, nephew. It was really nephew. And it was like making sure that I was like doing the right thing. Now, at this point in my life, I was not in survival mode. I was living a pretty good life. But I remember working, and I had a Post-it note, and my categories were right there. So I saw it every single day. So if that's what you need to do, just put it where you can see it on your refrigerator, on your mirror. Like remind yourself every day, these are my top priorities, and this is how I can kind of check this off the list every day. Your categories will be a little bit different through different seasons of your life. Now my categories are totally different. I still have mental health and physical health. So my categories now is mental health, physical health, what I'm going to do there every day. My other one is my job. My third one is my job and business. My third one is like family being present, all that stuff. Um, so they'll change. Now, I wanted to end the stability box, golly, 30 minutes already. I might just do two boxes and then do the next two tomorrow. That's, I think, what I'm going to do because this is taking a long time. Um, the thing that I wanted to get into, just to summarize the stability box, okay? It is progress, not perfection. Remember, baby steps. As you start a routine, as you start really focusing on one or two things a day, that becomes natural to you, and it doesn't become this mountain we're climbing. We don't want it to be a mountain. We want to get over a little hill, okay? Like a little hill, and then we get that hill like nailed, and we're like, we know that hill's coming tomorrow. We know that little hill's coming tomorrow. Then once that gets easy for you, then you add on one more thing. You don't add on 20 things at a time. If I added 20 things on at a time, I would do none of them. Okay? So get good at doing a couple things a day. The next thing we're going to go into on this, I was going to say podcast, on this live, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit because I'd be on here for 2 hours. I'm going to shorten it. We're going to do the bipolar four square box. We're going to focus today on one is stability. The next one is gratitude, mindset, belief system. Tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll finish up and we'll go over box 3 and box 4. So number 2 box, gratitude, mindset, belief system. There's a lot of prongs to this. You want to get to a place where we have accepted the diagnosis, meaning we've accepted that we have something and we need some help. Okay. You need to also, we can't live in a victim mentality, you guys. We can't live on a pity pot forever because there's no progress there. That's like being in jail in your brain. Because if you're on a pity pot, you're like blaming the outside forces for your problems. And again, it is not your fault. It is not fair, but we have to take responsibility. What you focus on, you create more of. If we focus on, I can find a solution or the beauty or the joy, like we create more of that. If we believe that every day is going to be negative, every day is probably going to be negative. All right. So what you want to remember with gratitude is on a small scale, how can we find gratitude in daily life? This could be molecular. This could be small. This could be, I'm happy that I got out of bed this morning. And then it can progress to much bigger things. You can also get to a place where you're grateful for your diagnosis because you're now stronger than you were before because you never had to focus on mental health before. You can then focus on that mindset shift of why me to why not me. Okay? Mindset and perspective is everything. Perspective is everything. If you perceive the world, and remember, sorry, well, I'm having issues with my back, my neck, all that stuff. If you perceive the world, now remember, depression tells you to perceive the world negatively, but we have to fight that. Remember the black wolf and the white wolf. You don't want to feed the black wolf. We want to feed the white wolf. So perception and how you perceive the world is everything. So we need to go in intentional to every day and decide to find the gratitude. We have to decide that we're going to find the beauty. Okay? Very, very important. Let's see. Yeah. Being intentional. Like I say this all the time. You can't go out here raw dogging life. Especially if you're bipolar. If you do, you're not, like, how can you just kind of wing it? You have to be intentional about getting better. Okay? That's an important piece. Another thing, I was talking to someone today about trauma itself. When things happen, how can we find the lesson in that, or how can we learn from that? How can we help somebody else? Now, it's very, very hard to talk about loss or, if you've suffered from abuse or rape or something just awful, it is very hard to see like the lesson in that. Now, I'm not saying, and I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe shit happens, okay, sometimes. Now, I believe in the universe that can help us. I believe some things just happen that we have to get through, and it's why we have a foundation to get through it. Now, with trauma, sometimes it's not necessarily what is the lesson. Sometimes shit just happens, and we have to accept that and try to maybe help somebody else, okay? Sometimes that's it. Now, with trauma, I believe comes the triumph. Because if we know that we've been through hell of trauma, we've been through hell and back, that gives us some power. You freaking survived that. Holy shit, you're here, you're listening to this. You survived some major stuff. That brings gratitude, okay? Steve Harvey was talking about that. Steve Harvey's like the best motivational speaker ever. He was talking about like without failure, where's the success? If you don't fail, you can never truly thrive because you've never fallen so hard that you had to climb back up. If you're just here your whole life, like where's the exciting ups from the downs? And that's why, and here's the thing. When I talk about being grateful for the mundane, I am so grateful for every single day because I'm not depressed. So when you get there, you have to also remember how shitty it feels to feel depressed. And when you're not, when you don't have that weight on you, when you don't have that gray cloud over you, or maybe it's not as heavy, oh my gosh, can we just be grateful for that? If I just have a boring day for someone else, it's just another day at the office, but I wasn't depressed, oh my God, it's a great day to be alive. So have that mindset. Let's see if we never had a glass half full mindset. If you live in a glass half empty mindset, again, that's what we focus on, we create more of. Um, I think that gratitude mindset, belief system. Oh, I'll get to belief system too. I think journaling helps a lot because what journaling does, there's a few things that you can do with that. You can write down like your anger. You can write down your frustrations. Getting it out on paper somehow physically makes your brain feel better because it's not just up here in your brain, like you've gotten it out. Journaling also, what you can do is write down kind of what's going on. You can write down what you're grateful for, things like that. Again, it gets it down to where you can see it. Then you can go back and look at how you progressed or look at things that went on in your life. Belief system. You don't have to be religious. If you are religious, great. Belief system to me is more about finding your peace. My dad, his belief system is really do the next right thing. A lot of it, he has a higher power. A lot of this is from AA. He has a higher power. He does pray. He's more spiritual, but nature is his peace. Finding your peace is it's so powerful. So where do you feel the most peaceful? Find that place. Also, belief system is like morals. If you don't stand for something, you can fall for anything. So really get involved in what you internally believe and what your morals are. Being kind to your neighbor, things like that. I think that's where we're going to stop today. Tomorrow we're going to get into number 3 and number 4. So I'll write this down that we are just going to switch. I think tomorrow I was going to do something different, but that's what we'll do. We'll finish up the bipolar success 4 square box for you tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can comment on this video, but remember, my book is on sale tomorrow, until tomorrow on Kindle for 99 cents. It'll go up to like $6, I think, after that. So go ahead and grab that. I hope you guys have a great day.